Yes, this is Docker-OSX. We have got around 16k stars. We've got 18 contributors. Got 100 issues, which are mostly feature requests and super edge cases like unsupported CPUs, which is for some reason really rare. And all 4 pull requests, they're all mine, plus this one, which I'll probably accept soon. It's GPL3, so you can use it freely. You don't have to worry about publishing any source code because it's a tool used for security research purposes. Thanks to our contributors, we've got a really good bunch. And most of the project is actually a Docker file. The shell is actually, I don't know where the mustache comes in, but I think it's coming from the Helm chart. So we have a Discord server. Feel free to come in and join. I'm usually there, or there's a bunch of other people who will probably help. We've got Telegram. I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to send something more business related, and you can reach out to my contact email address there. In addition, we've got over 150,000 downloads. This is always delayed. Nicholas Sherlock, thank you for making KVM Open Core. Sorry, he maintains the fork of KVM Open Core, which was started by a user named Leos. And we have Diru Collier, who runs the Collier upstream version, which is OXX KVM. I'll just zoom in. And then we have the wonderful team at OpenCore, who we use their bootloader and are in great gratitude towards them. Thank you to OpenCore for creating such a powerful product. So it's really easy to use. I've set up 3 images, which is Monterey, which is just out, Big Sur, and Catalina. All you want to do is just literally like this, and you should get a new host. There we go. Move it across. So you have a boot option here. You can press escape and skip that. But yeah, so we got tip, we got zip. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. We got zip. You can turn off SIP. But what you want to do is start Mac, and then it will boot up. It'll take about a minute or 2 to boot up. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can minimize it, you can have multiple of these, you can make it headless. There's a lot of different things you can do. So also in here you have a Qemu Console. So if you press tab, you can actually see things that you can operate onto the guest image. So say for example, I want to add a VNC password. I don't think I've got VNC on, but so what happened was in Qemu 6 you had to set a user. So let's see if I can connect. I'll check in a minute, but that's how you connect to VNC, by the way. So I'll tell you about that one in a minute. But while we let that boot up, let's check back to this. We've got Big Sur, which I'll run in a separate window. But what I will do for Big Sur is I'll run it with a different port because I don't want to use this port. So let's just take that port argument out and delete. That's okay. Let's make sure. And there we go. Now we've got a Big Sur which will download in the background. Let's make this. Then we've got a Monterey. Let's build a Monterey as well. And I'll explain a little bit about these options in a moment. But let's just get rid of -P 50992. You know what? I want to change the SSH port to localhost 5093323. So all those are images. Sorry, the Big Sur's downloading. I've got Catalina running. I've got Monterey downloading. And my CPU is going a bit strong, and I'm using 700 megabits of speed. So first off the bat, you'll see this extra functionality in Monterey. OSX serial number generator is another project that I created, and it is a wrapper for OpenCore's Mac serial, and that lets you use iMessage on Docker-OSX automatically. So we have this 4th image, which is 22 gigabytes, which is a pre-installed version of Catalina. But be aware that when you download this image, you will need 40 gigabytes overall because it's already 20 gigs, and when you download the image, it'll be 20 gigs on top. It's also mildly insecure because it's using user and Alpine, so do not connect that system to the internet no matter what. That system should be ran locally for testing only, or behind a VPN, or in a CI/CD pipeline which has no access to the internet. The third version is the naked image. So there's a so instead of downloading the auto image, you can also download it from my website, which is a lot faster than Docker CDN. And just for measure, I will show you that now. Let's go to, okay, Max, let's see how we're going. This one's ready. I'll zoom in a bit. I'll put that one over here for a moment. But what I want to do now is go to a directory, make dir images, video, cd images, underscore video, and let's do wget that. So what that's going to do now is download that image at, oh, it's quite slow. I will try and speed that up. And if you are in the US, it's a lot faster. So that should be ready. Big Sur's there. Big Sur's not working at the moment. And let's go to the disk utility in Catalina. Sorry, it's still extracting. Catalina, what you want to do is, you got 3 disks. Small, big, small, and the sizes are here. Go to the very biggest one, 215 gigabytes, and just want to erase it. This is a fake disk. It's a virtual disk. 30. I'm just going to call it. You don't have Control A on thing. My Docker-OSX. Erase. That's what we're going to call this new little box. Don't forget, I'm running Big Sur, which is about to pop up. CPU is going a bit wild, but that's okay because we can handle it. So we now exit that once it's been erased. Reinstall macOS. And go through the prompts. So this is strictly for security research purposes only. Catalina is the easiest one to use because it uses HFS2. And you'll see Big Sur popping up in a sec. We're just a bit delayed. Oh, there it is. So that's Big Sur. Just minimize that. And I've also got so I've got 3 of them up now. Okay. So I have a, which one did I download? So I've got 3 Macs. Let's zoom out. Now, does that not look cool? Let's see what that one is. Press Ctrl-Alt-G like it says at the top if you want to skip that part. Sorry, if you want to release your mouse. I'm not sure what this one is, but we're about to find out. And we'll pin that one on top too. And we'll put that there. And I'll cancel the download because I've already shown you this here. There we go, they're all working. So what will happen is you will get, you will get a, where is it? Let me just figure out where I put it. So what you'll get is, so I've got 3 Macs running. Let's have a look, make that smaller. So this one wants to install Monterey. It's exactly the same as the other one. You just go into disk utility, night mode. Whoa. Biggest disk, we've got this one. This one's the biggest one. Erase. Monty. Erase. You can zoom in as well if you can zoom all the way in, for example, that far in, and you can keep zooming in actually. And what you'll get after this is the disk, HFS journal. It's also not 200 gigabytes, but it's actually a virtual. It's a virtual drive, so it grows as the system grows. And just like before, you want to put in the Monterey. So I will double click on this, but I'm not going to finish the installation because it takes about half an hour. It's quite beautiful. Look at it. It's quite nice. It's also the beta, so you have to respect the terms of the beta. So we'll leave this one a little bit smaller because it seems to be a little bit whatever. And there we go, Big Sur. So we currently have 3 Hackintoshes running in VMs, and one of them is Big Sur. Zoom out. Tisk utility. Same thing as before. You just go through the prompts. I've got 3 Macs. So for light usage, I didn't really like Big Sur because it grows too big. So this virtual 200 gigabytes, it's not as good as Monterey. When you complete the installation of a Big Sur, it will be around about, I've just lost my mouse usage. I see the bug. So some users were talking about this bug with the mouse, and I think I've seen it. I think it's usually due to not enough RAM. So what we need to do now is reboot the Big Sur. Monterey, I'll leave that there for you. And I'll minimize that, and I'll minimize that, and I'll minimize that. And then just go focus on the Big Sur. Don't forget you've got a couple of different prompts here. This time we won't have to erase the disk because we already did. In any case, once you've finished with all of that, you will have a file called the Mac HDD HDD in here, and it's cd var lib docker sudo find name. I'll get rid of the word auto, and you'll see all my images. All of those images are macOS images. Depends which one you want. Usually it's the diff. So if I got this xargs ls minus lha, and that will give me the date of each one. So the latest one date right now is 4 p.m. or 1600 hours UTC, so 16:09 minutes, which would be this one's the latest one, and that's 289 megabytes. 289. So let's have a look. That one, and once you've done that, you can pull that image out. Now another way you can do it is docker ps-a, and that will give you the previously open and closed container names, and it will tell you how long ago it was started. And then you can get the container ID, copy that, or just tab complete it and go docker inspect 860, that's enough. You'll get an image, you'll get some information like this. Now if you don't have JQ installed, you can do that, but if you don't have it, you can just grep upper, and that will give you the location of the folder. So go cd bang, pwd ls, cd home, cd arch, cd Osx kvm, and there we go. We have the serial numbers. We go let's go less serial.tsv. What was our serial number? There we go. We've got the serial number that we're using. We also have you can copy that out for later use, but we also, most importantly, we have the Mac image. Now this one's a bit small, but they do grow. And then you just copy or move that out. You can use stunner, you can sudo move, but make sure, and once you take that image out, you can then use it in the naked image, which you'll see how to use here. This one is using that name, so don't forget to change that. But then you just copy that in, and then that way you can change these values each time you run it, and you don't have to start again every time. There's another example here, which is Naked Auto, that uses a container that has a username and password set to Alpine. You can also change it with the variables. These two lines here relate to the display server, which allows the window to pop up in X11. Or if you're using Wayland, I'm not sure how it comes through, but it's probably X Wayland or vice versa. We have iPhone pass-through using VFAO thanks to a user named Silverline, and that's the instructions are provided there, but it's a little bit difficult. The other alternative is to use USB Flux D, and this is pretty much called muxing it over the internet. So instructions are here for doing it on Arch, but it should be pretty similar on all distros. You want to compile USB Flux D. This is for iPhone only. If you want to connect your iPhone to the computer, start Avahi daemon. I'll show you what it looks like. We go like this, and that will give us the interfaces. Want to restart USB Mux D. Listen on WebSocket Cat. Listen on port 5000, and then run the USB Flux D in the terminal in the foreground. So when I plug in the iPhone now, it will show up. On the Mac, you also have to install this, and then you do a reverse. It's kind of like reverse SSH back through the IP address. You may have to change the IP address, and in fact, you do have to change it. You can pick one of the ones that come up from the Avahi daemon. Once you're up and running, you want to move over to the Osx Optimizer, which will allow you to make it a lot faster. So at the moment, it's quite slow. So what you want to do first is do things like disable Spotlight. Spotlight massively slows down the system, and so does the auto updates. Pretty easy to turn off. You can run these in the terminal. You can do it in the settings. Disabling updates, like I said, at your own risk. Reducing motions, pretty straightforward. OSA script for like automated scripts or logging in over SSH without actually doing anything. Disable screen locking, which can get annoying because the screensaver is quite animated. Light username prompts. There's a whole bunch of different things. Some of the ones that are a bit more intense, for example, allowing AnyDesk. That was for using AnyDesk, which is helpful sometimes. It might be a bit faster to use it rather than VNC. And remote access. This is a little bit different. These methods below are extremely insecure. This is turning everyone root. No passwords required for anyone on the system. And if you want to make everyone a sudo, you can do things like that as well. And you can disable apps from going to sleep, which will bring up the CPU usage, but it will prevent apps like iMessage from sleeping. So back to the repo. Master plist URL, that refers to a plist that you can modify on the second URL, which is siccode/OSX serial number generator. I'll just start page it for you. Here we go. So in this repo, which you will just have to look at via, let me see what that is. I think that's my own one for getting ready for Monterey. So what you want to do is, if you want to use your own one, I would suggest forking it, and then you can, host it locally. I was going to consider putting it as a thing, but this is the config plist. You can edit it, but I will show you one more important thing. There are placeholders here. The placeholders are here. The placeholders are here. So this is what the automation is done with, and these are the only things required to run iMessage. They automatically get generated by the scripts that I've put in here. For example, we have the generate unique machine values. So this has a lot of options. It's very complete. This is already running inside of Docker-OSX. You don't need to use it. But if you want to use it for a Hackintosh PC, then you may want to have a look at this. The default master plist URL is the one sitting on the master of this repo, and the options are all there. And then you'll see down here that it ends up replacing those values inside of the script. And then there's also specific ones. So if you want to use the same serial number again and again, So you don't want to fill up your iCloud account with multiple serial numbers. Then you would be using the other one. So you don't have to use this. It's already built into Docker-OSX. Docker-OSX. Let's have a look. It's already built in. Everything's sweet. Let's have a look how many. Come join the Discord. We're on Docker Hub. We're sitting at over 100,000 pools. We've got Discord. We've got Telegram. There's a couple hundred people in there now, so we're pretty friendly. And yeah, you can ask whatever you want, you know, noob questions, pro questions. If you feel like you've got something out of it, that I would appreciate if you pay it forward. You know what I mean? I don't get paid for this project. I even pay for this project. I pay for Docker Hub, and I pay for the. So I don't make money from this project at all, and I even pay. I pay for the Docker Hub. I pay for GitHub Pro. I pay for the, you know, the boost on the server and things like that. So most of the stuff that I get out of this is just, you know, referrals and work and things like that. In terms of people see the project, they love it. Maybe they use it at work, maybe they don't. But, you know, there's a little bit more involved in that. And I appreciate the team up at OpenCore for building such a powerful software. Nicholas Sherlock, who's a legend, and he keeps Leozen's original fork alive, and then Collier, who is the mastermind of OSX KVM. I consider anyone who contributes to my project one of the maintainers, so you are officially a maintainer once you jump in. Feel free to make any changes you want. There's a whole bunch of different options and stuff like that here. Some of the main errors you might have is like making sure you've got Qemu first. Then you've also got this one, Docker-OSX server unknown. That is usually due to when you are not running Docker, so you have to run sudo dockerd, or rather via systemd. You can upgrade the CPUs, amount of CPUs you want to use. You can add yourself to the Docker group. You may have to add yourself to the Docker group. 2 different options here to ensure that Docker daemon's running. And what else is there? There's a bunch of more examples. We have tons of examples down the bottom, especially in relation to serial numbers. So this is how serial numbers resolution. You can change the screen resolution if it's too big. You can make it bigger as well if you have quite a large screen. You can mount 2 disks at once. You can have 2 Big Sirs, which is very powerful because only Big Sur can talk to another Big Sur. You can mount the image on your Linux computer. It's quite complicated. What you have to do first is use a network block device and then mount the contents of the network block device onto another mount point. Let's have a look. You can pass through webcams, you can pass through everything, you can pass through your iPhone. There's almost nothing you can do that you can't do with on a real one. So we've got even Turing complete OSX commands. So you can run any command you want, That will automatically run with your commands, and then once it's finished, the container will kill itself. For VNC, you want to find this one here. I don't know why it's so low. I should put it at the top. But this is VNC. You want to just bang. So if you get that error, it means you're already running I'll just use this dirty kill. Let's have a look. So this is about to run a headless version. This is headless. What I want to do is change VNC password user, set my password, and then now I can connect to that at the Docker IP. So let's see, Docker PS, Docker inspect 838, which is the container ID, and we'll get the IP address, and then we can just go port 5900 is open and port 5999 is open. So 5999 is the one that we want to use. So VNC viewer 192.168.1 dot what are we, 2, there we go, and that should work, but we need to put the password in there. So I would use something like Romina, but you get the idea. And thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video of me explaining how to use Docker-OSX. If you think there's something missing, I will edit the video and re-upload it. Just let me know. Happy to take your questions. If you have any other suggestions, reach out via email. I'm on Discord, Twitter @SickCodes, Telegram @SickCodes. You can pretty much reach out to me on anywhere, or just go to sick.codes and send me a message.